Okay, so just to review here, we're going over section 3.5, 3.3, and 3.2. Here's where 3.3 begins. Simplify each expression, write each answer in terms of I. The square root of -5, that's the same as the square root of -1 times 5. Square root of -1 is I, and the square root of 5 is my leftover, so I root 5 would be the answer. Okay, the square root of -36 is the square root of -1 times 36, which is the square root of -1 times the square root of 36, which is I times 6. 6I. Negative the square root of -17. Well, just like this one here, the square root of -17 would be I root 17. I get a negative in front of that though, so negative I root 17. Okay, the square root of -24. Well, that's going to be I root 24. Root 24 breaks down though as 4 root 6. Root 4 root 6. Root 4 is 2, so 2I root 6 is my answer. Square root of -40. That's the same as I root 40. Root 40 though is the same as 2 root 10. So 2I root 10 is the answer. Negative the square root of -28. Negative I root 28, which is the same as negative 2I root 7. Okay. Problem 16. Simplify 4 plus or minus the square root of -8 and write the over 2 divided by and write the answer in terms of I. So 4 plus or minus I root 8 all over 2. I root 8, root 8 is the same as 2 root 2. So 4 plus or minus 2I root 2 all over 2. 2 is in common to these two terms. I can factor that out of the numerator. And cancel it with the 1 in the denominator. So when I cancel those, I'm left with 2 plus or minus I root 2. Problem 17, find the following and write each answer in the form A plus B times I. -7 plus 3I plus 2 minus I. So I add the real parts, -7 plus 2 gives me -5, and then add the imaginary parts. 3I minus I is 2I. -5 plus 2I is the answer. That's in the form A plus B times I. 5 minus 6I minus 6 plus 4I. Well, combine the real parts, combine the imaginary parts. 5 minus 3 is 2. -6I minus 4I is minus 10I. So 2 minus 10I is the answer. Addition and subtraction I don't think are so bad. You know, we just need to make sure that we're in the form A plus B times I. Multiplication and division are a little bit quirky. So let's take a look at a multiplication one. 8 plus I times 3 minus 2I. 8, well, if I FOIL this, 8 times 3 is 24. -2I times 8I plus 3I is -13I, and then -2I times I is -2I squared. I squared is -1, so really I'm adding 22 to 24. Okay, when you add 2 to 24, 26 minus 3I is the leftover. 4 plus I divided by 5 minus I. Okay, so if I multiply the top and the bottom by 5 plus I, 5 plus I want to multiply the top and bottom by the complex conjugate of the denominator. What I mean by the complex conjugate is whatever A plus B times I is multiplied by A minus B times I You will always, always do that whenever you're dividing. Okay? So that's why I'm using 5 plus I and not another 5 minus I, for example. 4 plus I times 5 plus I, when I FOIL that gives me 20 plus 4I plus 5I plus 9I plus I squared divided by 25 minus I squared. Okay? Notice how I don't have any term involving I in the denominator. That's what I want because I goes away in the denominator. So when I simplify 20 minus 1 gives me 19 plus 9I divided by 25 plus 1 over 26 gives me 26. So 19 plus 9I over 26. And at this point, I would recommend taking it a step further and splitting that so that you're in the form A plus B times I. 19 over 26 plus 9I divided by 26. Okay, and neither one of those cancel. Problem 18, factor each expression completely. Part A, 35x cubed minus 14x squared. Well, 7x squared is the biggest factor that goes into each one of those terms evenly. So I'd factor that out. 7x squared times 5x gives me 35x cubed minus 14x squared. So that would be my answer there. X squared plus 10x plus 16. Well, x and x are the factors, plus everything's positive there. The factors of 16 that I try, 1 and 16, 4 and 4, 2 and 8 should do it. X times x is x squared, 8x plus 2x is plus 10x, 2 times 8 is plus 16. 2x squared minus 13x plus 20 gives me, when I factor this, 2x minus 5 times x minus 4. And I can check that. So 2x times x is 2x squared. Negative 8x minus 5x gives me negative 13x. Negative 5 times negative 4 gives me 20. Okay. Part D, 4x squared minus x minus 3. Well, I'd try 2x and 2x, 3 and 1. That's not going to do it, though. If I try 4x and x, 3 and 1, negative 4x plus 3x is negative x in the middle. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 at the end. 6x squared plus 11x minus 10. When I set that equal to, when I factor that, I'd try 6 and 1, and 6 and 1 is not going to do it. 10 and 1 is not going to do it. 3x and 2x and 2 and 5 should work out for me. Check it out. If I take 3x times 2x, that gives me 6x squared. And then I'm looking at 15x minus 4x gives me 11x. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Okay. Part F, 9x squared minus 100. Well, 9x squared, that's the same as 3x, the quantity squared, minus 10 squared is 100. So I got 3x, the quantity squared, minus 10 squared. So something squared minus something squared gives me a nice factorization of x plus y times x minus y, if it's x squared minus y squared. 3x plus 10 times 3x minus 10 would be how that factors. And of course I can check this. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared. The outer and the inner terms go to 0. And the last terms, 10 times negative 10 is negative 100. Okay. Tell you what, I'm going to stop right there, and I'll do the last sheet and the last video there.